We are 58 days and counting, and I will be back in Orlando yet again. Sir Owen Disney here, and we're going to talk about last night's Battleground pay-per-view, and there was a lot of really interesting things to come out of it, and a lot of messages on the internet basically telling me that most people didn't like this show. It was a mixed bag, to say the least, and that's pretty much where we're going to start this conversation. Now, the show is going to start off not with the pay-per-view itself, but the kickoff, which was 30 minutes before and had the normal kickoff panel, with this time being Renee Young leading, and now she is the current lead of the kickoff panels, taking over for the recently future endeavored Josh Matthews, and she is joining Alex Riley, Booker T, and Christian. So Booker T's always on there. Christian's from Florida anyway, so it makes sense. Probably wasn't very much of a drive from his house, so it works fine. And we get 2 matches on this show instead of just one. One of which came in the guise of a match that was set up literally yesterday, before the pay-per-view, hours before the pay-per-view, in that there was an announcement on a lot of the wrestling websites that give you news, and they basically said that both Adam Rose and Fandango were taken out of the match. Now, there was a recent message a couple days ago saying that Adam Rose and Damian Sandow were taken out of the match. But this time, that was completely false, apparently, and they changed their mind, and they were going to book Adam Rose against somebody and continue the storyline. I should have realized because there was a picture that was posted via Instagram, and it basically showed Summer Rae and Layla hanging out with the Rosebuds. So I put 2 and 2 together and realized that we're getting Adam Rose and Fandango tonight before they even made the match. So that's pretty much what we had. And Damian Sandow was then inserted back into the Battle Royal. This Battle Royal would have 19 competitors instead of 20. Why 19? Well, there's some speculation to be told, but we'll get there as we progress. So the first match on the kickoff was the aforementioned Adam Rose versus Fandango match. You know, the match, but another of the millions of matches we've seen lately between my t-shirt collection. And basically this starts real quick with Fandango on offense, and he's starting to take it to Adam Rose, and eventually Summer Rae and Layla, who Summer's looking gorgeous like she always does, and Layla's looking pretty nice as she was as well, and they start doing the chant around the ring, distracting Fandango. So he powders to the floor to stop the chant, and he gets slapped by Layla, and then he gets slapped by Summer. Then Adam Rose tosses him in, and a little bit of Adam Rose offense. He eats the running clothesline in the corner, and is victimized by the party foul, and that's the end. Adam Rose gets a pinfall victory over Fandango, and how the mighty have fallen, actually. I know there are rumors saying that Vince doesn't like Adam Rose, but he continues to win, so there's always that. Hopefully they'll do something with Fandango in the near future, and I think they're building towards a new dance partner for Fandango. There are rumors that it's going to be Sasha Banks. I really don't want that to be the case, but I think it actually makes a little bit of sense, given the fact that Sasha Banks and Summer Rae have history, being the fact that they used to be the Beautiful Fierce Females, 2/3 of the Beautiful Fierce Females, the other member being the current NXT Women's Champion Charlotte, and they have some backstory, and they can utilize the backstory and put over NXT at the same time if they have Sasha Banks come in to be the new dance partner of Fandango. Excuse me, that brings Sasha Banks to the main roster. And then we'll see who Charlotte can feud with in NXT. Obviously, she's going to be feuding with Bayley, because they're starting to really build her in the last sets of tapings. They're really starting to build Bayley as a credible challenger to the championship instead of just a comedy act. And they're also building Alexa Bliss as well. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. Becky Lynch is there as well. So there's a lot of people that could always go after Charlotte's NXT Women's Championship. As a matter of fact, if they want to, they can continue to bring Emma and Summer Rae down and have them work for it as well. And I have a feeling before the year is over, we're going to get a Paige and Charlotte title versus title match in NXT. I'm pretty sure that's going to be in the tapings that are in the fall or into the beginning of 2015. That's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen. There's actually a set of NXT tapings in September while I'm down, but unfortunately I'm not able to make it given the fact that I'll be at Halloween Horror Nights that night actually, so there's always that. We had our next match. It is the battle of the former Funkadactyls. It is Cameron versus Naomi. And before we get started, I want to mention one thing. Now, Cameron and Naomi are attractive. I mean, to me, they are attractive, and to most people, they're attractive as well. Cameron comes out, and she's wearing a red skirt, and she's wearing plaid, and she's got a little tie, and she's got the GB, of course, the girl bye being her catchphrase, and she looks like she just got kicked out of Hogwarts, because she looks like a bad Harry Potter reject. Like, her outfit was way too revealing, and they just kicked her out before, and even Slytherin wouldn't have her at this point, so yeah, she's pretty much just exiled away. That's what I was thinking there. And then Naomi comes out, and they're not wearing the long pants anymore, the long spandex. No, they're actually wearing like short, like biker boy shorts type gear. And basically, she's dressed like a black and white taxi cab. So yes, you either can have Cameron put a spell on you, but she's not very good at it, so she could turn you into anything. Or you have Naomi, who, she's a taxi cab, and you just want to ride. Yeah. I didn't want to do that, but it's how it works. So their gear was interesting, and they're coming out to different music. Cameron coming out to OK Music. The good thing about this is the fact that it brought Vinny back to Twitter. Vinny was twittering about this match, actually, and it's always good to hear from Vinny, because I was a big fan of Vinny from Total Divas. This match is short, and they do the same spot that's been done lately, when Naomi getting tossed throat first into the top rope, and a roll-up from Cameron, the schoolgirl roll-up, actually called by Michael Cole. I wonder where he got that. And she grabs the tights and gets the 3 count. So that was interesting. And yeah, that was it was a match. I don't think this is over between the two, obviously. It's not going to be over. The end game's not going to be until Naomi wins. I don't know, it may make it to SummerSlam, but I don't know, they may not want to put time into SummerSlam on it, because they have a really awesome SummerSlam card they're building right now. I don't think this is going to be on the SummerSlam card. They might blow it off on Raw or SmackDown in the weeks leading to SummerSlam, given the fact that SummerSlam is not that far away. It's next month, but still, it's over a month away, but we still have enough time to blow off Naomi and Cameron by that time, so you don't have to take time away from your precious matches on SummerSlam, which is the WrestleMania of the summer. So we get into our main pay-per-view card, and the first match of the evening is our 2 out of 3 falls match. And I'll be totally honest with you. Like I said on the NXT and SmackDown video I did on Saturday, when it comes down to it, I knew this match was going to test my writing abilities. And what I mean here is I knew this match was going to be something I was going to have to write a lot. With a 2 out of 3 falls matchup, when you're trying to recap it, it's kind of an interesting thing you have to deal with, because you never know when the finish is going to come, and you don't want to write everything involved. So usually I wait like 3 minutes for some matches, 5 minutes for some matches, 10 minutes for some matches, in the main event's case tonight, 15 minutes for some matches, and then I start writing from there. That way I don't have to write as much. And I just pick up the bits and pieces of the finish, just as pretty much what everybody's looking for when they're looking at a recap, because I don't know anyone else that recaps on the internet the way that I do, at least in YouTube form or podcast form, kind of like this. So I think I consider myself unique in that way, and that's the fact that I also am a former commentator in professional wrestling, and, you know, when it comes down to it, I really enjoy doing commentary, so that's why I like to do it the way I do, and plus it makes me out from everyone else, so that's how I do things. We get our match, and it is Jimmy and Jey Uso defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against Eric Rowan and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family. And this is the first time you see what Bray Wyatt termed his Fireflies, being when the lights go out for the Wyatt family introductions, be it a tag match, a 6-man tag, or just singles matches for any of the 3 members of the tandem. You basically have the cell phones, like B.O.B. was talking about, and Bruno Mars said, "A Sky Full of Lighters" is the song Lighters. And like when you used to go to concerts back in the day, you used to hold your lighters up in the air. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. Well, now, in this day and age, we hold our cell phones up in the air, and that's basically what Bray Wyatt calls his Fireflies. That's the first appearance of the Fireflies on this show, and Bray actually coined them the Fireflies during an interview that was seen over the weekend. So yes, excuse me, both Jericho and Bray Wyatt were on different types of media promoting Battleground, and I listened to both those interviews. I believe Sam Roberts had Jericho, and Bray Wyatt was being interviewed as well, so that was interesting. So we pick up this match, and this is the first fall. We'll start here, and I'm glad I started when I did. We're about 5 minutes into the match. Harper hits the gator roll, and that transitions into the side headlock on Jay. Jay elbows his way out and creates separation with the backdrop suplex. Tagging to Jimmy, he goes up top, and he leapfrogs off the top, lands on his feet. Harper comes off the ropes, mows him over with a big boot. 1, 2, 3, and the Wyatt family are up 1-0 on the Usos. So that's the first fall right there. And then after it's over, the Wyatts have taken the first fall. We pick it up to the second fall, and there's a charging avalanche in the corner. Gets a 2 off of that. Tagging to Eric Rowan, he comes in, and he rains down the elbow to the top of the head and nails his big splash off the ropes. Gets a 2 off of that. Puts both fists to the head, the vice grip, and he elbows his way out. Big scoop slam, and Rowan ends up falling on Jimmy for a 2 when he's trying to go for a body slam because Jimmy's back gave out. So he wasn't able to slam him, so basically, you know how gravity works, and he lands on him, and he got a 2 off of that. Tagging to Luke Harper, he comes in, and he walks over the ribs, standing on the stomach of Uso for good measure, and 2 vicious European uppercuts, and a big right hand by Jimmy. Stops his momentum, and he hits him with another right hand, and they trade rights. But basically, Harper gets the advantage, and he knocks him right into a choke on the middle rope. So a backdrop suplex is attempted. He floats over, lands on his feet, tagging to Jay. He charges into the corner, does Harper, and he finds nothing but chest to buckle. Gets rolled up from behind by Jay. 1, 2, 3, and the Usos win the second fall. Now after that second fall is over, the Usos get bum-rushed by the Wyatts before the bell even sounds. So they're trying to get the upper hand so they can take 2 falls straight. Well, not 2 falls straight. They can take this third fall quick, fast, and in a hurry. And we don't go any further in the match. Well, that is not to be, obviously. The bell sounds. Rowan hits his fall-away slam, and he gets a 2 off that on Jay. A leaping knee drop and a face wash with Jay, lean back across the bottom rope. And he tags in Luke Harper. He comes in with a slingshot to the middle rope, and he gets a 2 off of that. Haven't seen that in a while. A chop and a big right hand, and a right hand sends Jay hard into the buckle. And tagging a Rowan, he comes in with a whip in. He misses the charge in the corner, and he goes shoulder first into the ring post. So Harper tags himself in, and he goes for the running big boot in the corner. He gets caught up in the top rope, and Jay makes the tag to Jimmy. So Jimmy comes in. It's the Samoan suicide dive on Luke Harper. I refuse to call it Uso Crazy. It's the SSD. And Rowan gets hip tossed over, and the SSD is connected on Rowan as well. So he runs off the barricade, and he clotheslines Luke Harper. He tosses him in, goes up top for the flying body press. 1, 2, and Harper kicks out. So a savate kick to the ribs. Deep uppercut, and he ducks the clothesline. Samoan drop is countered, grabs the foot, and spins him around. Enziguri kick to Luke Harper. And once they get back up, he charges in. Actually, once he gets up, he gets in the corner, and he charges in with the Rikishi special, the running butt bump in the corner. And basically, Harper is up, and he's angry, of course, because he just had the butt in the face. So anybody would be angry, I know, because I took the stink face as well, and I wasn't happy either. So Harper gets up and just mows him over with an avalanche in the corner, and he goes for the sit-out powerbomb. It gets countered, duck Harper's clothesline, and Whisper in the Wind Canals 1, 2, and a kick out. He goes for a super kick, gets tossed off, and a big boot sends Jimmy over the top rope to the floor. So Harper hits the tope on Jimmy, which is basically more of just him putting his arms out and just not going head first, but just pressing him back is pretty much what it was. Tosses him in, goes for the sit-out powerbomb. He gets stopped. Jay sends Rowan into the barricade. That distraction allows for Jimmy to hit the super kick on Harper. 1, 2, and a kick out. And he goes for the super kick again, and Harper just shrugs it off like it was nothing. Sit-out powerbomb connects 1, 2, and no. He kicks out 2.5. Tagging to Eric Rowan, he comes in. He goes up top himself, and he goes for a big splash off the top. He misses. Harper goes up, and he gets crotched up top, and tagging to Jay, and a Samoan splash on Rowan. 1, 2, and no. Rowan kicks out. So he goes up top yet again. Harper grabs the foot, and he kicks him off, and Rowan with the right hand to Jay, and another one, and they trade blows, a gut shot, and Jimmy tags himself in. They hit the double noggin knocker, do the Usos. So basically, they utilize the fact that you can't hit a Samoan in the head. Well, it didn't matter anyway, because Rowan slammed their heads together, and thus proceeded to superplex Jimmy and Jay Uso off the top rope to the canvas. What a brilliant move there. Rowan makes the cover on Jimmy, 1-2, and a kick out, and he makes a tag into Harper. So Harper comes in, they go for the T gimmick, and he gets stopped by Jay with a super kick on Rowan. And Jay rolls up Harper, and a super kick, spun around, and Harper with a super kick of his own, and he goes for the discus lariat, it connects, and Jimmy makes a save before the 3. So Harper sends the Uso to the floor, and ducks the clothesline, super kick connects, tag into the opposite Uso, they double super kick Harper, they knock Rowan off the ring apron with a double super kick of their own, Usos climb up with a double Samoan splash, connects 1-2-3 on Luke Harper, and the Usos retain the WWE Tag Team Championships in a tremendous way to kick off the show. Great back and forth match. And when you are placing a match, when you are booking a show, and I've done it before, and you place a match this hot to start off your show, you may be potentially dooming the rest of the card to be just living up to it. Which in some ways, the talent kind of rise to the occasion, and they're like, okay, fine, you guys went out there and stole the show, all of us are going to try to steal the show from you, and so on and so on and so on until we get to the main event. But in some cases, you just have a match which is so hot, and has so much crowd interaction, and is so great between two teams or two superstars, and it just completely makes it impossible to do anything better on the rest of the card. The placement on this show, overall, by and large, was probably not the greatest. There was not really a cool-down spot, and it tired out the crowd quickly, and then the rest of the show pretty much suffered for it. So yeah, that was a great match. And I know I said that Rowan and Harper would win the tag titles at Battleground. I think at this point, I would say if they don't win the titles at SummerSlam, I would be completely shocked at this point. Harper and Rowan need to win the championships. And then what needs to happen is Harper and Rowan need to go to NXT and end the reign of the Ascension and get the Ascension to come to the WWE to get their titles back. That is what I want to see happen. The battles between the two generations of NXT dominant tag teams, kind of like when the Dudley Boys and Public Enemy had their feud in ECW, even though it kind of ended rather quickly because Public Enemy went to the WWF at the time, before the feud could go any further. After the Dudleys put them over, Public Enemy bombed out. So yeah, that's not going to happen in this situation. Victor and Connor will be in the WWE before 2014 is over. As a matter of fact, I think they'll be in the WWE before Survivor Series. And given the fact this is the middle of July right now and Survivor Series is in November, that's probably a really good timeline to determine when they're going to be showing up on the main roster. But like I said, if Harper and Rowan want to show themselves, they need to go to NXT, take the titles back from the Ascension, end their monumentous title reign, and then get the Ascension to say, okay, fine, you took our titles, but we're coming to WWE, and we're going to take yours. So that is what I want to see to come out of this, and I think it's the right direction to go. And the Usos are in this as well. Obviously, there are really no other heel tag teams right now, unless you want to count maybe Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil, and they're kind of like minimal tag team at best, and Ryback have been pushed down everybody's throats, and if they seemed like they were going to do anything with them, they would have already pulled the trigger by now, and they haven't, which sucks, because I like Ryback as a team now. They finally have fit into a cohesive unit, and they feel like a real tag team finally, and that factor makes me think that they could have a run with the titles, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So Seth Rollins is basically cutting a promo in the locker room, and Dean Ambrose attacks him, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight, and Triple H comes out and throws Ambrose out of the building. Okay? We don't get our match after all, so maybe, just maybe, Rollins was legitimately hurt, and he was just kind of staying brave when he curb stomped Ambrose on SmackDown in the show, and that's the reason why we're not getting our match. Probably not, but yeah, that's pretty much, that was the first thought. Not necessarily the thought that I had, but that's a thought that a lot of people had. And I was like, no, Rollins is fine. They're just trying to build up anticipation for their collision at SummerSlam. So we get our next match. It is for the Divas Championship. AJ defending against Paige. The frenemies do battle. This match was a letdown because it should have been a whole lot better. The show had a lot of botches. And at one point, there was a spot where Paige was trying to spear AJ through the ropes and didn't really work out. And they kind of did it, but didn't really work. But yeah, that was even before I started talking about this match. So Paige goes up top. AJ climbs up and counters, and Paige goes for the sunset bomb and gets a 1 off of that, actually. Sets up for the Paige tap out, kicked off, charges in, AJ gets both boots up and goes to the middle rope, goes for the flying body press. Paige counters into the swinging Uranagi, which gets countered by AJ into the Black Widow, and she grabs her hair to break the hold. Nails a vicious, devastating page turner on AJ, drops her right on top of her head, and gets a 2 off of that, and goes for the PTO. AJ rolls through, only gets a 1 off of that, gets countered and rolls into a 1 for that, and AJ makes her eat the Shining Wizard and gets the 3. So the frenemies battle was not as epic as it could have been. Something was off on this show. Like, a lot of chemistry in this show just wasn't there. They was like mixing like oil and water. It was just crazy. And I'll talk about that more when we get to Wyatt and Jericho, which is a shame because they had such a great match in NXT. Well, Kane and Randy Orton are basically arguing, and then they basically realize that they need to stay on the same page, pretty much because Triple H told them to, and he's the boss, mind you. He's not Tony Danza, but he's still the boss. And Orton pretty much has to get Kane to realize that he needs to make sure that he walks out as champion and no one else. Obviously, Kane has to prevent anyone else from being champion except for Randy Orton. And Kane is like, well, you know, honestly, I can promise you the person that's going to win tonight is in this room. And obviously he was referring to himself. He's back in the Boiler Room days, so haven't seen anybody in the Boiler Room in quite a while. Now, with the events of real life right now, which I don't know much about because I don't follow news, because I just don't. When it comes down to it, there are some things going on right now in real life that is making it impossible to really focus completely on the storyline between Rusev and Jack Swagger, because there's real life stuff going on between the USA and Russia right now, apparently. I don't know much about this, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. So there was a lot of speculation on the internet over the day that they were going to scrap this feud altogether. Well, with the finish of this match the way it was, no, that's not going to happen. There's one of two things that's going to happen out of this. I guarantee there's going to be a match at SummerSlam, and I think the Swagger will win at SummerSlam, but we'll talk about that in a bit. This is Rusev and Swagger, and we pick it up midway through, and 2 big right hands, and Swagger ends up getting backdropped over the top rope, lands on the floor. He kind of nails his knee on the announce table, which is barely seen by the crackerjack camera work here. So Rusev punches Swagger off the apron. Swagger gets up, he punches him off the apron again, and then Swagger gets a pep talk from Zeb Coulter, and he gets up on the apron, and he no-sells 2 right hands, and he neck snaps Rusev, and he ducks his clothesline, and he nails a shoulder block off the ropes, and he runs in with a knee in the corner, and whips Rusev in, boot to Rusev, and he hits the Swagger bomb out of the corner, 1-2, and Rusev kicks out. So Rusev gets caught off the ropes, big takedown from Swagger, gets a 2 off of that. He double legs him, going for the Patriot locks. Rusev kicks him off, and Swagger tosses him over. A right hand and a kick is caught, and a kick straight to Swagger. And he goes for the Muay Thai kick. It gets countered into the Patriot lock, and he drags him to the middle rope, and he has to break because Rusev somehow, some way, valiantly literally crawls to the bottom rope and calling for the break. So he's got till 5, as Bryan Danielson would tell you, and that would mean that Swagger breaks at 4. So Rusev is clutching his ankle, and he's on the floor at this point. So Swagger gets in, Pillman clips the knee, and goes for the Patriot lock on the floor. Obviously, he can't get the win here, he just wants to take it to Rusev. And of course, the referee is continuously counting at this point. So, in an interesting spot, Rusev flip roll-throughs, and he does the forward roll, and Swagger's momentum carries him face first into the ring post, which is normally a spot that would work for a babyface and not a heel, but whatevs. So Rusev beats the count at 10, and Rusev wins by countout. Now, if anyone was going to win this match via countout or DQ, if this was going to be a nefarious way to win, or if this was going to be a non-pinfall or submission, I would have given this to Swagger. But they get a countout victory for Rusev because Swagger couldn't beat the count. So after the match is over, Swagger's unconscious because he's selling unconscious amazingly because he hit forehead first viciously into the ring post. I thought he got busted open, but he didn't, thankfully. And a lot of that has been happening lately. A lot of hard way has been happening in wrestling lately. See that shiner on Bray Wyatt's eye? That's Ric Flair on over the weekend in Madison Square Garden during the house show. You know, basically if you want to create blood, you use your knuckles to bust the eyebrow. Yeah, Mick Foley talked about it in his first book, Hard Knocks and Cheap Pops, so there you go. So, Swagger tossed in, he's dead weight at this point, literally, and Rusev stomp on the back, Rusev puts on the accolade, and that's the end of that. So then I feel like I may have been taking some mind-altering drugs. I feel like I have Nate Webb drugs, like hardcore Nate Webb drugs. That's an inside joke from a long time ago, I'm sorry. Anyone that would probably know what I'm talking about has no idea what I'm talking about, and probably not going to watch this video. So, comedy for one is still comedy, and I guess the one is this guy right here. So, Goldust and Stardust are basically talking about the cosmos, and talking about this cosmic key, and they're going to watch the stars, and they basically do the thing Goldust does his outro, and then he snaps his mouth, snaps his teeth, and Stardust hisses at him and hits the Stardust pop. And yeah, I like Goldust and Stardust, but they didn't do anything with them on the show. I'm surprised they weren't involved in the Intercontinental title battle royal, but I guess that's basically being the reason why, because they're a tag team. And why would a tag team care about singles gold? But they're both former Intercontinental champions, even though Stardust is not an Intercontinental champion. Cody Rhodes is, and Cody Rhodes has pretty much been abandoned at this point, given the fact that he's still wanting to be Chris O'Donnell's Robin mixed with Jim Carrey's Riddler. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Schumacher is the favorite director of Cody Rhodes in this case, at least for this version of this character. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Goldust and Stardust. I have a feeling they'll probably get a shot at their Usos sooner rather than later. They're a face team, so yeah, there's kind of a lot of chaos in the tag team division because there's really not many teams at this point. TNA has the absolute opposite problem. TNA has a lot of tag teams, and that's awesome because they can actually fulfill a division. WWE, not so much. So hopefully they start either bringing up teams, i.e. the Ascension, or they start putting people together, i.e. Titus O'Neil and Heath Slater, or they just decide to put other people together that we don't know about. So who knows? Maybe we'll get something out of that. Rusev and Swagger. What I think's going to happen now, this definitely goes at SummerSlam. And I think that we're looking at a match between them. I think a flag match will probably happen on a Raw leading up to SummerSlam. I think that we're actually building towards, and they really built towards it in every single way possible. I really like to see the flag match is going to be the case, but I do think it's going to be a submission match now. Obviously, they both have submission holds. It both makes complete sense. And once again, Rusev loses by submission. He still hasn't been pinned, so they can put that over. And obviously, the fans are going to really want to see Rusev get his comeuppance from Jack Swagger at SummerSlam. Because we'll be in Los Angeles, so who knows what's going to happen with that. Yeah, everything that is just the first 3 matches on the show, I guarantee they happen at SummerSlam. Guarantee they happen at SummerSlam, and it makes perfect sense for them, too. So, Seth Rollins comes out, and he's going to accept a victory by forfeit, because Triple H threw Ambrose out of the building, so he's not coming back. So, obviously, you know something bad's about to happen. He wants to be announced as the winner, so Justin Roberts does just that and announces him as winner via forfeit. So Rollins leaves, and Ambrose attacks him, tosses him over the barricade, they fight in the crowd, and Rollins tosses Ambrose over the barricade, and Rollins gets set hard in the announce table, and he pounds away. Here comes security, they pull him off. Ambrose attacks Rollins, and they separate the two. So Ambrose attacks, and Triple H comes out to stop this. You get Jamie Noble, you get Bill DeMott sighting, haven't seen that in a while. Mike Rotunda, Finlay, and Joey Mercury are all out, and they literally pick up Ambrose and drag him out of the arena to the back. And Seth basically attacks Ambrose on his way out to get the last punch, and then Seth jumps him again, and Seth is held down as Ambrose is literally carried out by the road agents, and Rollins and Triple H leave as well. So we're not going to get their matchup between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, but that's alright because you got a hot way to start it off, and you didn't have to do a match tonight for them to have interaction, and you had great interaction. You had them fight. You had them fight for their lives. And I sense some sort of a vicious stipulation match. I'm looking at a no-holds-barred match between Ambrose and Rollins at SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam is going to be very stipulation-heavy this year, actually. And I think that's the right direction to go. So, we get our next match. It is Bray Wyatt against Y2J Chris Jericho. And midway through this match, Rowan and Harper get tossed by the referee because he's tired of the interference. So we're now one-on-one. We pick it up about 10 minutes into the match, and Jericho hits an enziguri kick, gets a 2 off of that, and drops the knee, and he goes up top. Bray with a right hand stops the momentum, and a vicious headbutt, and he climbs up, and Bray and Jericho are trading punches, and a superplex is caught, and Jericho is turned around into a jawbreaker off the top by Bray, gets a 2 off of that. Whip in, charges in, Jericho gets the boot up, nails the face buster, and goes for the lion salt, but Bray gets the knees up. And, of course, the Exorcist-style crab walk. And hits the big-time Uranagi on Jericho, only gets a 2 off of that. So, a big right hand, charging avalanche into the corner, charges in, and Jericho makes him eat the forearm. An interesting spot in this match happened. And there are rumors going around the internet somewhat that Bray kind of got knocked loopy in this match. It's a possibility, because what happened was Jericho did something very unorthodox. He rolled Bray up, but instead of a roll up into a pin, he was close to the buckle, and when he rolled up Bray Wyatt, he hit the back of his head on the bottom turnbuckle. And after that happened, I'm pretty sure what happened was the match kind of went downhill from there. Because it just seemed like a very awkward spot. And it seemed like Bray was kind of knocked somewhat loopy after that. So the rest of that would tell me otherwise. So he grabs the rope at 1 when Bray is covered. And that's the end of that. So at this point, Bray's on the ring apron. And Jericho goes for the springboard drop kick. And Bray ducks. He lands on his feet on the apron. And Jericho gets DDT'd on the ring apron. But basically, he gave him a front face lock. And he uses elbow to ram him face first into the ring apron. Like a DDT club to the neck, basically. Gets a 2 off of that. He goes upside down. And he goes for Sister Abigail. It gets countered. And a roll up. And goes for the walls out of the roll-up, and Bray punches his way out, kicks off the walls attempt, ducks the clothesline from Jericho, and hits the Fall of Humanity, gets a 2 off of that. And out of nowhere, Bray Wyatt is getting ready to get up to his feet. Once he gets up to his feet, Jericho, code breaker. That's it. 1, 2, 3, and wins the match. They went to a quick finish after this, so something tells me that wasn't necessarily the finish that I was thinking they were going to go with at this point. I actually think, as I dropped my notes on camera, that was awesome, I actually think that there is a possibility that it was supposed to be something else. We're going to go close for a second, sorry. So, yeah, that's an interesting way to finish the match. So, yeah. And, yes, there will definitely be a rematch at SummerSlam that Bray Wyatt will definitely win. And given the fact Jericho is from California, via Winnipeg, Manitoba, he will be beaten in his home state. So yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. And Bray wins at SummerSlam and then ends the feud at Night of Champions on my birthday with a victory over Chris Jericho. So Seth Rollins walking with 2 bald security guys that are not Atlas and they're not Ron and Don Harris. So he's like, you know guys, I can go. It's fine. You guys, you walk me out. That's great. Just, I can go out on my own. No problem. So they bomb out, and Rollins is kind of looking around like, where's Ambrose? Where's Ambrose? And they pan in a little too long, and he's looking, and then all of a sudden, when he turns around, Rollins is unaware that Ambrose is crawling out of the trunk of a car, and he just jumps Rollins and just basically mugs him. Like, this would be illegal if it happened in reality. So, at this point, Rollins ends up getting his head almost taken off with a pipe. That's what it looked like at least. And Rollins ducks it, and Rollins climbs up a fence, he gets pulled onto a car hood, and Rollins gets away barely from Ambrose, jumps in the car, but drives away. So yeah, that's the end of that. So we've continued this, and thus will not be any sort of chance of a cash-in because Rollins is driving for his life with the Lunatic Fringe behind him. I'm sure Ambrose is the type of character that would probably run after him on foot in order to get his hands on Seth Rollins. Yes, I love the progression of this, and they didn't have to do anything match-wise. They didn't have to have anything except for 2 fights in order to get me really excited about their match at SummerSlam. If this is not some sort of stipulation, I'm going to be completely shocked. This has got no holds barred written all over it. So we get our semi-main event, and it is a now 19-man over-the-top rope battle royal for the vacant Intercontinental Championship. Unfortunately, Bad News Barrett had to vacate given a horrible, horrible arm injury, and he'll be back sometime at the end of the year or beginning of next year, and once he does, hopefully he finally gets that World Championship that has been eluding him his entire WWE career. And I say 19 because there's someone missing, and that person missing is Rob Van Dam, and we don't know what happened. As a matter of fact, I'll shoot with you guys. I'm shooting this almost midnight on Sunday night right after the pay-per-view, and as of this moment, I have no idea what happened to Rob Van Dam. I don't know why he didn't make the show. I don't know why he wasn't involved in the match. I don't know if he still has a job. I don't know what's going on at this point. Apparently, yay, thank you. Breaking news, courtesy of Nick Paglino from WrestleZone.com, is that Rob Van Dam is now currently suffering some sort of an injury. We don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that he is injured. So yes, Rob Van Dam did not make this match because of injury. So yeah, that makes me wonder why Adam Rose or Fandango wasn't thrown in this match, or they didn't put either Goldust or Stardust into the match. Obviously, you really couldn't do that, but you could if you wanted to. But yeah, why didn't they put someone else in their place and not have an awkward 19-man battle royal? So yes, thank you WrestleZone for telling me that Rob Van Dam is injured, and we don't know the severity of his injury or exactly what the injury was. I'm going to guess it probably happened in a house show over the weekend. I know he's working house shows over the weekend, so who knows what's going to happen with that. So the participants in this match that actually were in there were Big E, Alberto Del Rio, the Swiss Superman Cesaro, R-Truth, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil, Heath Slater, Damian Sandow, and he's wearing zinc oxide on his nose, and he's got a hat, and he's got garters on, he's wearing socks and sandals together, he's got board shorts, he's got a tank top, and for any of you that are watching these videos that know anything about Universal Studios Florida, there are some Streetmosphere that they had. I don't know if they still have them. Obviously, they had them when there was all the walls up during the building of Diagon Alley, when they had all the walls up everywhere. There were some team members that were doing Streetmosphere, and they were dressed like beach bums. They were dressed like tourists, and they would talk to the actual tourists that would come into the park. And I interacted with them a little bit as well, and this happened in 2011 and 2012. But I will say right now that that's exactly what Damian Sandow looked like. He looked like a Universal Studios Streetmosphere player. So yes, this will be lost on nearly anyone watching this video, but for those of you that actually been to Universal Orlando, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So Vic, if you're watching this video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yes, the other superstars in the match were Heath Slater, Diego, Sin Cara, Xavier Woods, The Great Khali, Kofi Kingston, Bo Dallas, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Sheamus, and that was your rounded out list. And with the aviators that he has now, and the way he looks, The Miz, literally at this point, is Johnny Cage. He's Mortal Kombat's Johnny Cage. I mean, just look at him, seriously. He's got everything. He's Hollywood. He's Johnny Cage. I don't think The Miz can do a split punch, but I'd like to see him try. I would. And that's coming from a Miz guy. And I am. So Wade Barrett comes out, and he's dressed in all black, and he's got his arm in a sling, and he comes out, and he's going to deliver some bad news to the winner that is going to become the new Intercontinental Champion. That winner will be just like basically old people living in Florida. You know, it'll initially be great, but it's delaying what's the inevitable. When the final grain of sand meets the hourglass, it will come in the form of a bullhammer from Bad News Barrett. So yes, the winner of this is definitely on Barrett's hit list when he returns. So hopefully, unlike what they did with Karma and the Bella Twins back in the day, if you guys even remember that, this won't be forgotten by the time that Barrett returns. And I do think that Barrett has some bad news for Bo Dallas as well, because Bo Dallas mocked him in his promo when he was talking about him and Daniel Bryan. So yes, you have built-in feuds for Bo Dallas with Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett once they return to action, whenever that may be. So let's pick this up, and as usual with Battle Royals, we're just going to talk about eliminations. So Khali immediately eliminates Xavier Woods, and then he tosses Zack Ryder, thus becoming my least favorite person in the world at this point. And then everyone just attacks Khali and dumps him over. So yes. Incidentally, when I did this simulation, Khali made it almost to the end. That's how it was. Oh, Alberto Del Rio won, by the way, and didn't win this one. So, Bo Dallas eliminates Sin Cara. Ryback eliminates R-Truth. Damian Sandow actually gets elimination on Curtis Axel. And Diego is the one who eliminates Sandow. So, he gets an elimination, but he gets eliminated by Diego. Ryback tosses Diego, becoming another one of my favorites for the time being. And Sheamus eliminates Ryback. And The Miz goes under the bottom rope. Jerry the King Lawler used to do this back in the day in Memphis. Pay attention to this, because obviously he's under the bottom rope. So right then I was like, yep, Miz is going to win this thing. So Bo eliminates Titus, and Dolph eliminates Del Rio. Big E with a Vader attack on Miz knocks him through the ropes to the floor. Now, if this was a Divas Battle Royal, Miz would have been eliminated. But no, he was not, because it's a regular Battle Royal, and obviously he didn't go over the top rope and land on the floor. He went through the middle rope and landed on the floor. So he's still in the match. Pay attention to this. Cesaro eliminates Big E with a nice overhead release belly-to-belly suplex over the top, which barely worked. And Cesaro eliminates Kofi. After Kofi did his normalcy, it was really interesting. He got knocked off the ring apron. He landed on the shoulders of Big E, and Big E basically was stopped by Cesaro, and Cesaro ended up... They went back and forth, and Cesaro eliminated Kofi finally. So Heath Slater is the one who tosses Cesaro. Actually gets a nice pop from the crowd. And then Sheamus eliminates Slater, and yeah, back to normalcy here. Dolph eliminates Bo Dallas, so yeah. And then Dolph eliminates Sheamus. So obviously Dolph Ziggler won, right? Nope. Miz comes in under the bottom rope and tosses Dolph Ziggler and wins the Intercontinental title Battle Royal. So the Miz wins, and we have furthered a couple of things. Miz now has heat with Ziggler, because Ziggler was the first person that, the last person he eliminated. And obviously he has heat with Sheamus, because they're continuing that feud about the Moneymaker. And now you can build towards the Miz and Sheamus feuding to a unification match between the U.S. and Intercontinental Championships. And both Sheamus and The Miz having one title apiece, they're going to fight at SummerSlam to determine the final champion, the one champion to rule them all. So one title to rule them all, basically, is what it is. So, if you look at the finish of the match, even though it was rushed really quickly, either way, you were going to have someone from Hollywood win. The Miz being from Hollywood, California. Dolph Ziggler being from Hollywood, Florida. Shout out to my friend John, who is legitimately from Hollywood, Florida. See you at reunion, sir. And one of them was going to win. That was from OH. Since there's no one here to say it, IO, that's right. So, basically, there was someone from Cleveland that was going to win this regardless, because The Miz is legitimately from Cleveland, so is Dolph Ziggler originally. They're both from Cleveland, the Parma Heights area. So, yes, that was going to happen regardless. And The Miz winning makes sense, because he's from Hollywood, he needs a championship. You're not going to put the world title on him right now, and who knows if he'll touch it again. But he's got an Intercontinental title, and now he has bragging rights. So, yes, you have a lot of people going to gun after The Miz in the Intercontinental Championship, and I think that's the right direction to go. So we pick up our main event, and it is our Fatal 4-Way with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line. It is John Cena defending against Roman Reigns, Kane, and Randy Orton. Now, there was a rumor over the weekend that the World Championship title itself was retired on Monday night when John Cena gave it to the Nature Boy Ric Flair before Flair bombed out in that really awkward promo with Renee Young. But that was not to be, because Cena carried out both championships, so yes. This was Cena defending against Reigns, Kane, and Orton. We pick it up about 15 minutes of this match because I didn't think it would go that long, and I really could have cared less about the match, honestly. So Reigns hits a Samoan drop on John Cena, and he goes for the Superman punch. Cena ducks it, hits the Proto Bomb. 5-knuckle shuffle is stopped with a Superman punch. He gets in the corner. The fans are going insane. He spears John Cena. 1-2. Kane makes a save. So he whips him in, ducks Kane's clothesline, leaping clothesline to Kane, and he charges him with a clothesline in the corner, a big right hand, and Kane with a right hand of Roman stops it, and Roman retaliates with a Superman punch to Kane, and hits the leaping dropkick to Cena, who's across the ropes, leaping dropkick to Orton, who's across the announce table, and leaping dropkick to Kane across the other set of ropes. So he nails it on all three. So he spears Orton through the barricade into Justin Roberts land, and he runs in, and Kane goozles him, and he goes for the choke slam. Roman breaks the grip because he's got the kryptonite here, and a right hand of Roman Reigns connects, knocks him back into the ropes, and Roman spears Kane. 1-2, Cena makes the save. So Cena makes a cover of his own, and still only a 2 count because Roman makes the save. So Cena tosses Roman out of the ring, hits the AA on Kane, and Roman Reigns makes the save. So you can't hold Roman Reigns down here. Roman makes a cover on Kane himself, and Cena makes a save. I'm sensing a pattern here. So Cena and Roman Reigns trade punches, and it's just like Hogan and the Warrior back in the day, trading punches. And the AA is hit on Roman, and Kane makes the save. So Kane goes for a choke slam, and he nails a vicious choke slam on Cena. Really awesome visual for Cena to take it that high. And he chokeslams Roman Reigns, makes a cover on Reigns, 1-2, and a kick out. He cuts the throat, he signals for the end, he goes for the tombstone, countered by Roman, ducks the clothesline, and Orton breaks up the pinfall attempt on the spear, hits the RKO on Reigns. Cena RKOs Orton on top of Kane, and makes a cover on Kane, 1-2-3, and John Cena wins. No cash in, because Rollins bombed out because he was being chased by a lunatic. No Brock Lesnar, because you're holding him off till Raw tonight. So, yeah, that's how we end a very lukewarm pay-per-view. Yeah, the match is okay. You know, like I said, they peaked too heavy on this. You started off the show with the 2 kickoff matches, which were short squash matches we'd see on SmackDown. I'm sure we'll probably see them again on SmackDown. You hit your high peak with the Usos against the Wyatts, and after that, you try to deliver with Paige and AJ, which suffered because it wasn't living up to the expectations that everyone had for the match. Well, the people that know about Paige at all had expectations for the match, given the fact a lot of people have expectations for this feud, and it's been kind of lukewarm so far. You pick up the crowd back with Rusev and Swagger, but take the crowd off because you have Rusev go over by count out, mind you. And then you do the stuff with Rollins and Ambrose, their fights they had 3 times, and it works perfectly, it works fine. Bray and Jericho, when Jericho went out of nowhere, it was just kind of a lukewarm match. They didn't really click for some reason. And I honestly think that Bray got knocked a little loopy when he got rolled up into the bottom turnbuckle. That's probably why the match finished the quick as it did, even though they seemed like they did go through the finish that they wanted to do. That Codebreaker came out of nowhere, but I think that's probably the point. The Intercontinental title Battle Royal was alright. It was good for what it was, with The Miz getting the Jerry Lawler-style victory. Irony, given the fact that he feuded with Jerry Lawler in WWE back when Miz was WWE Champion, and the match they had on Raw, which a lot of people thought Lawler was going to win the championship, and he was finally going to get his just due, being a WWE Champion, but yeah, that didn't happen. So, we end the show with a kind of a good Raw main event. Yeah, this show was basically a really good edition of Raw. As a matter of fact, look at this. These are my notes. 2 pages front and back, so it's 4 pages of notes. Almost no room between the two. There's a little bit at the end here. A little bit of the Bray Wyatt and Jericho match, but that's about it. So yeah, that's all I pretty much got from that. So yeah, it was a really good Raw. I don't think we needed this as a pay-per-view. This could have been a really great edition of Raw, but I wouldn't have used it as a pay-per-view. We should have probably just skipped this month and just use it as a month to build up SummerSlam, since it's so intensely important in the WWE right now. I really think these ancillary pay-per-views are getting ridiculous. I understand why they're there, but they're getting too close together, and there's no point. I don't care because money is not an issue, because obviously I've got the network, so I don't worry about it. It's $10. $10 covers me 6 months. 6 months later, I'll pay $10 more, get 6 more months. So yeah, $20 get a year. So yeah, that's not an issue whatsoever. But that's not the point. The point is the fact that these pay-per-views are becoming so redundant that the point is that they're actually starting to make pay-per-views seem more like Raw than actually Raw. And it's not right. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if you would have paid $50 for this, you'd probably be pretty ticked off right now. Some of you that did pay $50 right now probably are pretty ticked off right now. So there's always that. So what I recommend on the show, the Usos and the Wyatt family, watch this match as soon as possible. This match is phenomenal. I was very happy to be able to do this match. This match was literally a page and a half, and that's all my writing. And this is like this right here, and like the top right here, that's like this is where the line stops. That's where the match ends. It's like a page and a third. Sorry, obviously you know I can't do math, but I get up again. So, yeah, Fandango and Adam Rose could have been on SmackDown, probably will be. Cameron Naomi could have saved it for a Raw. Usos and the Wyatts, pay-per-view quality in every single way possible. Phenomenal match between these two. Paige and AJ, they've seen better matches. I'm sure they'll have a better match at SummerSlam, and I think that that's going to be the right direction to go. And I think that SummerSlam is going to be when the Wyatt family finally win the tag team titles from the Usos. Rusev and Swagger, it was alright for what it was. Okay SmackDown match. Swagger winning a submission match over Rusev at SummerSlam. That could make sense if Swagger's the endgame, unless someone else is the endgame. And a lot of people are talking about Kurt Angle coming in once he's able to come in September. I would think that they want to hold that off if they want to do it in that situation. But I honestly think what needs to happen, if you're going to strap the Rocket in this feud to Swagger, make him credible, I think you have to have him get Hulk Hogan's approval. I think you have to have Rusev Muay Thai kick Hogan, and Swagger makes a save, and you eventually build to Hogan in Swagger's corner against Rusev at SummerSlam, and then when Rusev wins and Rusev loses and celebrates, long day. When Rusev loses the match, Hogan and Swagger can celebrate together, and that would be an awesome visual, and I think it would work really well for SummerSlam and play really well into the box office for SummerSlam. So, Wyatt and Jericho, hopefully their match at SummerSlam will be better. Put a step on it of some sort. I don't know exactly what it would be. I think that there's a really good possibility we see the Wyatt family against Jericho and the Usos on Raw tonight. I think that's probably going to happen, honestly. And I think that you actually will get The Miz against Dolph Ziggler in an Intercontinental title match, given the fact that they were the last two participants in the Battle Royal. I think that's probably going to happen. I do think that you're probably going to get some sort of altercation with Ambrose attacking Rollins. So Ambrose's life's going to be made a living hell. He's going to have to do like a handicap match or something like that. But if he has a handicap match, he'll have to face like Ryback or Titus and Heath Slater. I mean, there's a lot of direction you can go with this. Brock Lesnar is supposed to be on Raw tonight, so that will be interesting to see what we go with that. And the Fandango versus Summer Rae and Layla feud will continue, with Fandango and Adam Rose feud will continue probably. What will Damien Sandow be tonight? That's a question. What will Damien Sandow end up being? So who knows what's going to happen there. I don't mind Sandow being anything, just as long as Sandow's not out there and Brock Lesnar doesn't come out to squash him just for fun. So yeah. Bray and Jericho will continue, like I said, through the six-man, which I think will probably happen tonight. So there's a lot of things you've got to look forward to. Cameron and Naomi will probably go at it yet again. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking will happen. Who knows what's going to happen with Cesaro now. I think Cesaro teams up with someone else against Kofi and Big E tonight. I think that's probably the direction I would go at this point. So maybe get somebody to work with Cesaro to team with him for the time being. Obviously, I would have suggested Wade Barrett, but obviously you can't do anything with Barrett right now because he's injured. But yeah, that's what we have from a very lackluster pay-per-view. A lot of botches. So yeah, Matthew should be very happy right now because he probably has a lot of content for his next couple videos, actually, because there were so many botches in the show. But yeah, like I said, match of the night, Usos and the Wyatt family. Phenomenal match. The Intercontinental Battle Royal was pretty good. Paige and AJ was good. Rusev and Swagger was okay. I would say that everything else was kind of a disappointment because there's so much stuff that it just didn't live up to. So yeah, it was kind of in the middle pay-per-view. If I would have paid for it, I'd probably been a little bit more mad than I am right now. So yeah, so a lot of people wonder. And once I find out what's going on with Rob Van Dam, his current condition, I'll let you guys know probably on the NXT and SmackDown video, which is going to be done next week. So, let's real quick, I'm going to update what's going to happen for you guys now. So, there are rumors going around that we're going to get an announcement of the Purge Anarchy Scare Zone coming to both Orlando and Hollywood for Halloween Horror Nights this year. That will probably be made this week. There was obviously a leak over the weekend of Halloween coming to Halloween Horror Nights. I know it's redundant, but it's true, in Orlando. So Halloween will probably be announced this week, unless they go the Jack the Clown route and they announce Jack the Clown's induction with the Steampunk Clown Factory that we're rumoring, along with the aforementioned Scare Zone, which you actually get to see Jack in the flesh, pun not intended for the face-off Scare Zone, and that would be outside of Disaster in San Francisco. I throw this in the end of a wrestling recap. It's really weird. But that's how it works. So yes, we'll probably get that. Hollywood will probably announce American Werewolf in London this week, and if there's going to be a share between a Maze property, I think we probably get Dracula Untold announced before this month is over. Then everything else is saved for reveal week in August. So yeah, that's what we got. So what I have right now for you guys, I will say right now it is officially Monday. So tomorrow night we will be talking about tonight's edition of Raw. Talk about what's going on with that. And of course, Wednesday, we're going to talk the first TNA Impact tapings that were held at the Grand Ballroom in Manhattan in New York City. And of course, Thursday, it's up in the air what's going to happen, but Thursday, AJ and myself are going to watch Lucy. Friday is going to be Hercules and maybe something else. Who knows? We might have to go to Athens sometime soon. Boyhood has officially been announced for Athens, so we'll probably be getting it soon. Magic and the Moon Knight probably be coming in the next couple of weeks. So a lot of stuff still to come in the future. AJ's movie reviews this week, like I said, coming Friday. Ashley's Popcaster from Across the Pond, Gaming with Ash segment's coming on Saturday. It was down this past week, but obviously it's going to return this week. Ashley having some issues with storms in his area, so obviously was not able to do a video, but he's coming back this coming week. And this Sunday, brand new verse is talking about dumb gym rats. You can piece together what that means. Also somewhat of a wrestling connection if you understand what I'm talking about, to end us on the month of July in verses. So in the meantime, if you haven't yet, go to Facebook and like our Facebook fan page. It is Suro and Disney Pop on Facebook. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Suro and Disney. Or if you'd like to send me a friend request on Facebook, if you do so, then please send me a message. Let me know that you're a fan, and it's like, oh, and you're awesome, or I like what you do, and continue to do what you do, and let me know why you're following me, because sometimes these random people follow me, and I don't know why. So I ask every single week, I was like, if you want to follow me, go ahead, but no one tells me if they're following me because of Pop, or if they're following me because they found me for some reason. So yes, if you're following me because you're a fan of Pop, and you're a fan of my reviews and the content on this channel, then please, by all means, send me a message and let me know. Just like, hey, Owen, I'm a fan. So that's enough. And you can do that. It's Owen Disney on Facebook. And finally, last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions. If you want to talk wrestling with me, you want to talk WWE or TNA, we can talk either one. Or if you want to talk general theme park talk, Disney, Universal, talk about Halloween Horror Nights. We really had some interesting announcements over the week, and the next couple of weeks are really going to be heavy on that as well. Or if you'd like to do what other viewers here have done and other fans have done of this channel and send me a versus idea, you're more than welcome to do that. If you'd like to be a popcaster yourself, send your content, or if you'd like to 21 question me, you're more than welcome to. I will answer those. And not on this channel, obviously I'll just answer you privately on Messenger or something like that, but still, I'll do it that way, and you can do so at my email, suroanddisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.